Magandang gabi po sa lahat. Mga common na tanong or yung mga usual na tanong sa low carb at fasting, sasagutin natin tonight. I posted a photo a while ago and sabi ko, magtanong lang doon. Of course, I may not be able to answer everything, but I will try to answer as many as I can tonight. So, maraming salamat po. And of course, nauna dito si Phoebe. First of all, thank you daw po for enlightening and everything. But it also allowed her to have extra energy and eliminated dysmenorrhea. So thankful that I found your page. So, nagsimula si Phoebe ng August 12 lang. And ngayon, grabe na yung remarkable changes, not just on weight issues, but pati na rin sa kanyang extra energy with dysmenorrhea na nawala na. On another note, also wanted to ask, have you watched What the Health on Netflix? Yes, I watched that. We are actually watching it right now, but it tells people the opposite of everything about low carb. They said that sugar and other carbs are not the cause of diabetes, cardiac issues, cancer, but eating red meats, etc. They are also doctors, so wanted to get some light on this from you, please. Looking forward to your response po. Thank you so much. So, yes, napanood ko na yung What the Health. Tapos ano pa, Fork Over Knives, and then Game Changers. So tatlong movies na yon, you have to know that those movies are under vegan or vegetarian na concept. Okay? So if you are part of the masterclass, you will actually understand because I discussed that as well, yung iba't ibang diet and why it is also being promoted by others and the reason behind it. So mainly when it comes to vegan talaga, you have to understand that it's about animal cruelty, yung intentions ng mga people who are practicing vegan is more on that side, not really looking into nutrition. But eventually they found out na meron din katumbas na importance or improvement when it comes to health kapag iniba yung diet. But for comparison wise, it's not just about low carb na kinokontra nila. Changing your diet, regardless of that diet is, can actually help. Especially kung nanggaling ka sa usual diet na walang iniisip. Fast food, junk food, all of these desserts. Because kung merong mang common among vegan, vegetarian, and low carb in general, yung totoong ginagawa nito ha, yung pinaka parang healthy versions, it's actually devoid of simple sugars. It's devoid of simple sugars, it's devoid of processed foods, it is also devoid of inflammatory oils. So, yun po ang common nila. But as to sustainability, with my experience, marami tayong kakilala na nag-try ng vegetarians for 5 years, vegan for 20 years, and then eventually they still have the same health issues. Yung iba, hindi lang nga on diabetes, they did not have a diabetes per se, but what do they have? They have autoimmune disease, they have problem with their thyroid gland, they have problem with their fertility, they have problem with their skin. So all of those are different aspects, but I am not here to convince you to believe me or to go against them. I am simply saying to you that after I watch all of those movies, because hindi po tayo narrow-minded. Whenever I know something, whenever I try to believe something, I try to convince myself otherwise. In that way, ino-open up ko yung sarili ko sa pinaka malalakas na arguments against what I believe in, and I will see. I will see for myself if kaya ba akong ma-convince nito, kaya ba akong ma-improve nito. And so far, those three movies, What the Health, Game Changers, and Fork Over Knives, they are all supporting vegan and vegetarian movement. So if you feel like you are inclined with that, so it's okay, it's good. Maybe it's based on your religion or based on your belief. When it comes to animal cruelty, ako, I love animals, tsaka hindi ko talaga kaya din makakita ng kinakatay. So sabi nila, it's hypocrisy daw to be an animal advocate, calling yourself an animal lover, and then you are still eating pork or you're still eating beef. But to each his own, ika nga. So if that's their opinion, I respect them. I don't plan on arguing with them or putting on a debate with them, because when I eat, my reason for eating is first nutrition, And secondly, it's also about preference and happiness. So, and when it comes to happiness, it's happiness, sustainable happiness, not just the temporary happiness. So, if I say I will eat something that will make me happy, kung sa iba, sasabihin niyan, kakain ako ng high carb na chocolate, that will make me happy. But that happiness is not really long term. It's not sustainable. Kasi kapag ginagawa mo yan on a day-to-day basis, parati kang nagde-dessert, parati kang kumakain ng sweets and all that, you are happy only at that point. Pero alam mo, after that time, you will feel bad. You will feel bloated. You will feel brain fog, and eventually kapag nagpile up na yon and it becomes a disease, nag-result na into many illness, into inflammation at iba pa, then that is no longer happy. So when I say, when I eat something that can make me happy, it is something that can make me happy in the long run, sustainably. So that is the food that I eat now will reflect as the food that will make me healthy and be able to enjoy life later in life, na hindi ako ganon kasakitin, I'm not bedridden, I am not confined within my room because I don't have a choice kasi hindi ko na kayang lumakad, hindi na ko na kayang tumayo. So that is what my definition of why I eat food. It's to make me happy and in a sustainable way, and that part of it, part and parcel of that is nutrition. That is, it is nourishing me. I am a head and neck surgeon by specialty. I finished training for 5 years dealing with patients who are eating mostly vegetables and rice, less meat, less red meat. And ano yung ginagawa ko sa kanila? Inooperahan ko sila ng thyroid. So yung thyroid gland. Thyroid is one of the most common diseases na we operated on a surgical level. I've operated more than 50 patients siguro in that 5 years time. Kasi pagdating ko ng 50, mga nasa second year or third year pa lang ako noon, I already reached my 50 patients of thyroid operations, hindi na ako nagbilang. So that's how plenty it is. And lahat sila, if hindi man lahat sila, they are eating the standard Filipino diet in the province, which is mostly puro gulay and puro kanin. Gulay, 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 kanin. Seldom do they eat because I was working in a government hospital before. So with government hospital, you can't expect people, especially yung charity patients talaga namin, not all ha, but the charity patients, based on my experience, are those people living in the mountains, in the far-flung areas, at yung available sa kanila ay puro gulay lang. Reserved yung mga pagkain ng karne o kahit isda nga kasi malayo sila sa dagat. Reserved yon on special occasion. So generally, they are eating that. And somewhat, yung iba, okay naman, genetics will play a role, individual differences will play a role. But it's not an excuse na hindi na sila magkakasakit. Just like in low carb, hindi rin natin sinasabi na hindi na tayo magkakasakit. But with properly done low carb nutrition, nutrient dense nutrition, you have the opportunity to heal whatever inflammation you've already had from the past years na pamumuhay natin. And also, most importantly, we have the capacity to prevent illness. Doing a drastic change in your diet, like say for example, galing ka sa regular diet na puro fast food, puro soft drinks, and then suddenly you shifted to vegan and vegetarian, 100% sure, I'm sure you will improve. But how to sustain it in general, if that can make you the healthiest forever with good amount of lean body mass, it will be on many other different factors. By evolution, in a gist ha, of course, maraming factors involved yan. But in a gist, in general, animal meat products is our food and plant-based products is our medicine. So if you are sick, of course you need some medicine. So that's why most of the medicines are coming from plant-based sources, yung pinaka-extract nila, yung pinaka-core nila. But if you are not sick, are you going to take medicine? So, of course not. But when you are not sick, you still need food. So that's why we need food. And as much as I am a meat lover and I am a meat eater, hindi ko rin sinasabi na kumain kayo ng meat every day. Because when it comes to low carb nutrition and fasting, we are not even built to eat every day. Dapat low carb whenever we eat, but if you can throw in some extended fasting or some 24 hours fasting alone from time to time, that can already give you a lot of improvement. So, yung questions natin ngayon dito, isang question pa lang yan, no? So, of course, hindi natin yan matatapos. So, maybe we can do another session like this. And thank you also for everyone who is watching in our new page, the LCF Masterclass by yours truly. Diyan na po yung pinaka ano natin, platform natin for enrollments. The previous enrollments, you already have our admins, but right now I suggest you go through that course to be safe. Diyan na lang po tayo mag-enroll sa LCF Masterclass by Josephine Grace Chua Rojo MD. And also hello to our YouTube subscribers. Maraming salamat po. Hindi, never ko talagang prioritize yung YouTube before. It's just like, parang ano ko lang siya, back up from the videos in Facebook. But I'm now seeing a lot of you supporting it. So maraming salamat po. Watching it can already help many more in our advocacy. And of course, na tumitingin naman sa ating page, maraming salamat din. Especially for those who are sending stars. I don't know how you do that, but thank you for sending stars. And meron pong filter. If you send stars and if you have comments and questions, we can easily track that. Mas madali po kasi merong filter yung mga nag-send ng stars. Kasi right now, you are in 2,780 live viewers. And sa bilis po ng questions, hindi na po namin yan makita lahat. But for those who are sending stars, we can filter that out at mas madali siyang makita. Anyway, moving forward, yes, and try to also watch the counter arguments. Marami na rin pong counter arguments for all of these documentary, the What the Health, Game Changers, and fork over knife. So fork over knife kasi sabi nila hindi mo kailangan ng knife when you are eating plant-based foods kasi nga soft. And then fork, just tinidor lang, you are already good to go. Try to also watch the counter arguments for all those kasi maganda din. And mind you, lahat yung mga enroll nila dyan, like yung mga proponents, mga taong nandyan, you can search for them because actually hindi sila lahat nagpatuloy. After that film was produced, after that film was published, a lot of them didn't continue. So I will leave that to you. I'm not here to convince you or siraan sila because I believe iba-iba po tayong lahat. Baka nagwo-work yun sa kanila and I'm happy for them. But we are here for those people who already tried everything and still it didn't work for them. Sabi pa nga natin, you follow the standard kung ano yung pinaka-recommended talaga sa inyo. And if at the end of the day, you feel like hindi pa rin, you are still not there. You cannot say still na I'm at the top of my health. Like for the longest time in my life, yung health ko ngayon is like the best of health. Then that's the time that we invite you to try low carb nutrition the way we want it, the safest, the ones that is really directly nourishing our body. Walang politika, walang religion, walang animal advocacy, just pure nutrition. Okay? Iba-iba tayo after this, but in here we are focusing on nutrition. And after you focus on your nutrition, whatever you believe in, kaya niyong gawin yan. If you are an advocate of animals, if you are very active in your church, or kung ano man yung nasa puso ninyo, you can already do that and we will support you. What we just want is for you to be the healthiest version of yourself. Okay? So, yun lang po. Doktor lahat ng merong mga doktor dyan, but I told you before, even as doctors, we are still different individuals. At iba-iba pa rin po yung aming pinanggalingan and why we are doing this. And majority of the things in medicine are still on theories and it's still on research-based and everything. And what we share is also research-based. It's just that this one, research plus the concept of evolution, of how we evolved as humans. So, it's evolutionary nutrition. Hindi lang ito food pyramid. Hindi lang ito dietary guidelines na nag-iiba every year because dietary guidelines change every year. But our genetics, our biology as humans, it doesn't change so much. Okay? Kung mayroong mang changes niyan, Very little. So that's why yung evolutionary nutrition, why we believe that we are okay to eat animal meat. Because yun yung nakasanayan ng katawan natin for the last 2 million years. Since na-discover natin yung fire, since naging hunter and gatherers tayo. Okay? So, sige po. Meron dito, Romary. I'm trying to do low carb for 1 month now to have a healthy lifestyle and heal po, like eye blurriness and improve memory. I have normal BMI pero gusto ko tumaas po ang timbang. Buti na lang yung timbang. Akala ko naman gusto niya tumaas yung height niya, pero medyo mahirap yon. Gusto ko mo tumaas yung timbang. 4'11 in height, current weight is 45.5, goal weight is 48. Pero parati pa din po ako nagki-crave, naglalaway. Pangit pong pakinggan for foods that I love like chocolates and those that are sweets. Kaya minsan napapakain po ako kahit alam kong bawal. Is it normal po ba? How to overcome it? Thank you in advance. So, sabi dito na gusto niyang tumaas yung timbang, okay? With low carb nutrition, prioritize your intake of proteins. Okay? Because when you do low carb na hindi mo pinaplano yung protein intake, you will really have this. You will always have cravings of the things that you are not supposed to eat because you are not fully satisfied with what you are eating. Because proteins will actually give you that satiety, that satisfaction. So if you are not eating enough proteins, you'll end up still craving for something else. That's why yung isang technique dyan, the first thing that you need to eat in a day, whether that's morning or lunchtime, kainin nyo muna mostly proteins. I know nasanay kayo na sa umaga, maliit lang, konting ganyan lang, isang shake lang, isang drink, or isang kape, or isang tinapay, o di kaya salads. But you might actually benefit if you want to gain weight and if you want to lower your cravings, you might benefit from eating proteins more. So, say for example, kumain kayo ng dalawang chicken breast in the morning as breakfast. Or kung kumain kayo ng itlog, try to eat first the egg whites because the egg whites are proteins. You will see how you will feel full during the day na hindi na kayo nagki-craving. Kung kumain pa man kayo, kakonti na lang. But the satisfaction, once you already completed that in the morning, sobrang dali na lang po. And also, this is also the reason why you are not gaining weight because it's the protein that will build up all muscles. I want to emphasize na para sa mga taong gustong mag-gain weight, please wag niyong sabihin, gusto kong tumaba. Okay? Because you don't need really fats, except for female. And the female will always have that extra fats, no? Unless you are a bodybuilder or you're really, really into heavy na exercises. But general average woman will always have extra fats than men because it's also important because fats produces estrogen. Kailangan din yan for us to regulate our menstruation and our hormones in the body. But for those who want to gain more weight, try to gain more weight on muscles, not just on fats. Kasi useless kung sobra-sobrang extra weight mo, yung extra mo na timbang sa katawan, pero puro taba naman. It's better na if you want to have that goal weight, it should be from muscle mass. So, I would like to emphasize na kung kaya nyong bumili ng weighing scale na bioimpedance scale, nasa 1,500 siguro sa Shopee or sa Lazada, kahit anong brand, just look for nadidistract ako sa comment tiklo, nakita ko talaga. Sige. So yung weighing scale na with bioimpedance scale, nakikita diyan yung fat percentage and yung protein percentage ng iyong katawan. So it's good to have increased muscle mass, lean body mass. And one way to do that is to increase more proteins. But that is not enough, okay? Kasi kapag sobra-sobra yung kinain mong proteins at hindi mo naman ginagamit yung muscles mo, walang motivation yung katawan mo to retain that proteins. So, it has to be two things. You exercise, search nyo sa YouTube, easy resistance training, easy resistance exercise, or mga easy home exercises to build muscles. Yung mga ganun lang. At hindi kailangan bumili ng kahit anong equipments. Kailangan nyo mag-lift ng weight for you to increase your muscles. But you don't need to buy weights. Kung gusto nyo, water bottles. 10-liter water bottles, punuin niyo ng tubig, gawin yung weights, okay? You can do that. So, hindi kailangang rason na walang pera, walang kahit ano. If you're always looking or focusing on the lack, yung kawalan, you'll never really progress in life. So, dapat maghanap parate ng paraan. Always have this mindset that if there's a will, there is a way. Okay? So, with increasing your protein intake and adding more exercise, you will reduce your cravings, you will increase your lean body mass. And yung one thing dito, nakikita talaga, you're always giving in. So if you are always giving in, hindi ka makakawala sa vicious cycle na yan. You cannot get out of that vicious cycle na parati kang nagkikrave. Kasi the one thing when it comes to food addiction, to sugar addiction, meron niyang idea na what you eat is what you will crave. So kung always mong pagbibigyan yung sarili mo na kumain sa mga ganyang bagay, you will tend to crave them. But if you don't want to crave them anymore, then just stop. Huwag lang kumain ito. The first thing that you can do is to not buy them. So that kahit nung initial phase, like the first few days that you'll be doing it, kahit may craving ka at kahit mag-give in ka, but if it's not within your house, wala kang magagawa. So try to clean out your pantry. Try to remove all of those temptations and distractions. Nasa book actually natin yan. It's Perfect at Last, book 1 on how to deal with cravings. It's also in book 2. But I'm so sorry, right now we are on the process of making a second edition, a second revision, because yun nga, we need to improve it and we need to add in the recent advances in medicine and recent researches para mas maging comprehensive ito, and we will publish that. We hope to publish that before the end of the year. So for those of you who are interested or looking into buying the books, I hope wag na lang muna, hintayin nyo lang po yung second edition, but you can also just have the ebook lang muna. The ebook is still comprehensive and okay pa naman. But at least for the hard copy, I suggest you just wait for the second edition. Ginagawa na po. Ginagawa na ng ating mga editors, and that will be, hopefully that will be published before the end of the year. So I hope that's okay. So with that, when it comes to chocolates naman, marami tayong videos yan recently, no, about chocolates and how to spot a somewhat low carb compliant chocolate. But of course, since it's already processed, it is already part of our caution list. Okay, so hi, Doc. Is LC safe for my son who is 12 years old? Will it affect his growth? We started not eating rice since November 2. His weight 79, now 76.8. Wow. And we came from a diabetic family. We still do cheat without rice. Okay. So for children, imagine meron ngang mga bata na si type 1 grit, no? Yun sila mga type 1 diabetics, and then si nasa Let Me Be 83 na page. Those two teenager yon na mga boys na may naglo-low carb, strictly low carb, zero to very minimal low carb, mostly eating just proteins and good fats. At kung kumain man sila ng carbohydrates, these are mostly vegetables. And they are thriving. Ang matangkad po sila, and they are not halted their growth. So when your child is 79 years old at 12 years old, so that's really overweight. Okay? I suggest you can do consultation with Doc Brian Castillo, our in-house low-carb pediatrician, to help you. But definitely, wala pong contraindication yung low carb. Kasi yung kinuha mo lang is yung pagkain, hindi talaga kailangan ng katawan ng isang taong growing. A child who needs to grow can still get his needed insulin for growth coming from proteins. Kasi when you eat kahit zero carb, meron pa rin naman yung insulin response coming from proteins. But this insulin response is not spiking. Hindi siya yung nag-shoot up, but just enough insulin response so that it will still continue to develop bones and muscles and growth of a growing child. And mind you, when it comes to growth, the building block of growth is amino acid. And as amino acid is coming from proteins, not coming from carbohydrates. Mabubuhay at magta-thrive at lalaki yung bata without eating so much carbohydrates, especially coming from rice. Especially na, remind lang po, yung rice ay kinakain lang mostly ng Asians. Maraming tao sa mundo na hindi kumakain ng rice. Maraming tao sa mundo na hindi pa nakakain ng rice, and they are okay. Okay? So, that's it. But of course, If you wish to know more, best to have a guided structure, because I appreciate that you appreciate our sessions like this. General Q&A, general talks about low carb and fasting. And it's good for those of you who can get the important bits and pieces. But for others na nako-confuse kasi nga, yung last kong video, iba yung emphasis ko, tapos dito, iba na naman yung emphasis ko. That's why we invite you to join the masterclass para structure yung learning talaga. Iba yung parang merong module para mas nasusundan at hindi ka kailangan pabalik-balik. So, hello everyone who are watching. So, is it safe po ba to do OMAD every day? So, depende yan. OMAD, para sa mga ngayon pa lang nakapanood, OMAD is 1 meal a day. So, safe po ba yan? So, yes and no. There's always no definite answer. If your body is still in need of healing and you are transitioning well to OMAD, then of course, you can do that. But just, you have to know na pwedeng magkaroon ng adaptation yung katawan nyo. The moment you stop doing OMAD, pwedeng bigla kang malumobo because you made your body used to OMAD. And so, one way to break that is to be metabolically flexible. Hindi lang basta-basta. Not always hot, not always cold. So, dapat merong mix yan. Just like showering, hot and cold exposure to shower will actually make your body become more adapted to different environmental temperatures. So, wag pasanayin yung sarili na parating may hot shower o di kaya ay wag din sanayin yung sarili na parating naka-aircon. Mix and match. That's how our body becomes tolerant to stresses and many more. It's hormesis at work. Hormesis, hormesis. So it's hormesis at work. So it's the idea is what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. So, yun. That's why, hindi pwedeng parating naka-fasting lang din. Kasi kapag parating kang naka-fasting, yung katawan nyo, masasanay na wala kayong kinakain parate. The moment you eat food, hindi niya alam kung anong gagawin sa food. So, that's why it's low-carb feasting and fasting. Kaya, mix in between. But it's not always fasting and feasting, ha? That is just for our group. But it's low-carb eating, okay? Occasional feasting, and also scheduled fasting or occasional fasting. So, yun din yun. So, I hope you get the purpose of that. And I discussed it before na with OMAD, hindi lang po yan basta OMAD lang araw-araw. So if you want like in 7 days, pwede kang mag-OMAD 3 to 4 times a day dyan. Tapos meron kang 1 day feast, like mag 2 meals ka or even 3 meals. Tapos bigla ka na namang mag 2 meals. Tapos bigla kang mag 1 day na magpa-fasting ka. So you mix and match and then you put that in between para magkaroon ng adaptation yung katawan mo na masanay siya sa ganyang eating schedule yan. Change your patterns from time to time, but always have that minimum. And if you can, no, always consider doing circadian fasting. At kung gusto niyo namang sorpresahin yung circadian fasting ninyo, na bigla kayong kakain ng midnight snack, make sure it is the exemption rather than the rule. Wag po parate. Okay? Kung pwede, once a month lang or once every 2 months or whatever that will work for you. Okay? Magte 30 minutes na, tatlong tanong pa lang tayo. Grabe. Hi, Doc. I have arthritis. Just recently attacked, treated, and I'm fine now. I stopped my medication around 2 weeks now. I went to IF and low carb 4 weeks ago, diverted eating meat instead of more veggies and fruits. I still eat a little. My question is, do my uric continue to be a problem if I'm eating more meat? And honestly, I am enjoying the low carb diet, though it's not totally low carb at all times, but I'm eradicating rice. And yes, I lose weight. So, thank you for that question. First, no, for those who already have medications and are already diagnosed with certain conditions, eto po, we really suggest that you do it the guided way. I hope nung tinigil nyo yung gamot nyo, it was under the supervision of a doctor. Kung hindi man low-carb doctor, at least other doctors who can monitor you, because there are certain medications na hindi pwedeng bigla-biglang tanggalin. But if you were able to do that successfully without side effects, so I also congratulate you, and it's good na wala itong kung anumang major drastic changes na nangyari sa inyo. And for those with uric acid naman, more on avoidance pa rin ng carbs talaga that can really make improvement. Yes, there will be transient rise in uric acid when eating proteins, but only if you are not eating proteins together with enough potassium. If you are not planning your meals well, So, pwede kayong magkaroon ng hyperuricemia without symptoms. The good thing lang about hyperuricemia when it comes to low carbs is walang inflammation. The problem kasi when it comes to hyperuricemia is if it with inflammation. So yun yung parating may arthritis, yung kidney stones, yung mga joint pains, all that are eaten with too much proteins and too much carbohydrates because it's the carbohydrates that will actually induce inflammation. If you will search kung ano yung danger ng hyperuricemia, there is actually no direct danger with hyperuricemia alone. It's just that mataas lang yung uric acid mo sa dugo. But the moment it is paired with inflammation, yun na yung mga ITIS, itis, arthritis, okay, nephritis, nephrolithias, ay, hindi pala yun. Basta anything with itis, okay? Itis is ITIS, it will indicate inflammation. But with hyperuricemia alone, walang papares na inflammation. It might just be as what we call as asymptomatic. Okay? Asymptomatic or subclinical. Walang direct manifestation na hyperuricemia. But of course, if you do the proper low carb, naturally, transient lang yung hyperuricemia and it will lower down to normal level talaga. With my patient, I don't allow hyperuricemia. I really make sure they are on the normal level, including the ones in our master class. So those hyperuricemia will be discussed on our kidney disease master class. But even if you join the 14-day master class only and you follow the protocol there and you watch the videos, kasi na-discuss na namin yan sa mga interactive sessions before, you can already know what to do about it. You can check your meals, you can check your food, and you can see where will that place you when it comes to your food preference. And of course, baseline laboratory values. So, hindi ko makasasabi kung yung uric acid mo ay nagkakaroon ng more problems when it comes to you eating meat because wala tayong baseline. You should get a baseline uric acid and then you should get it now that you are eating mostly meat, okay? And titingnan nyo if it's really responding or that, and then you do your food log, your food journal para makita nyo how to make some adjustment. And we usually see the moment we see your food and your hyperuricemia is still way up there. Let's check your food log kasi when it comes to my experience with my patient, I know certain foods that can increase uric acid even if they are on low carb safe list. And as a hint, it's usually the proteins coming from mostly plant-based sources. Okay, like too much nuts, to some degree too much cauliflower, and not even for those even who are taking most of their proteins from plant sources kasi nga takot pa silang kumain ng karne. So balitaan nyo kami. I hope you will do well. I hope your uric acid level is going to normalize in no time. But if you wish to be guided, I hope you will join our LCF masterclass para po mas guided kayo. Okay? Parehas, mi og pangutana, Dok. Huwat na lang ko sa imo tubag, ani. So, si Rolando. Sir Rolando, I hope nakasabot ra ka sa akong gitubag ganina. Klaro raman, no? So, kaon lang yun. Okay ra gyud mo kaon og karne. Basta walay apil na kanon, walay apil na tinapay, wa say prutas. Kaya ang prutas, maura ba na usa sa makapataas gyud? Ang fructose sa prutas, mao gyud na usa sa makapataas sa imong uric acid. Kay naa nay pathway. There is a pathway for fructose to be having or increasing the uric acid production of the body. Merong pong pathway yan. Okay? So, nasa 33 minutes past na tayo. Hello po sa lahat. Next question, would it be okay to take fatty foods because I have gallstones? I was given natural way how to eliminate the gallstones, but sad to say I have to take natural apple juice 7 glasses a day within 6 days before taking lemon juice with olive oil on the 7th day. Oh, I cannot comment on that protocol kasi for me, I will never advise that kung hindi ko alam kung sino nag-advise sa'yo yan. So, nasa sa inyo yan. But what I will tell you when it comes to gallstone formation sa pagbuo po ng ano yon ng stone, abdo, 'di ba? Tama, abdo. So, yung gallbladder natin, isa siyang sige, mag-illustrate tayo dito. Tingnan natin if we have stuff here para makita nyo. Okay? So, 'di ba liver 'yan? Okay, eto yung liver natin ha. Yan yung liver natin. Tapos, nasa likod niya, nandyan yung ating gallbladder. Pinalabas ko lang si gallbladder ah. But nasa likod yan, sa gallbladder. So, yung liver natin, siya yung gumagawa ng bile. Okay? Bile acids. Yeah, yan. Siya yung gumagawa ng bile. Pinapasok niya dito sa gallbladder. Okay? So, yung gallbladder, actually, sisidlan lang siya ng bile. And then, yung gallbladder na yan, meron niyang cystic duct. O, papunta yan. Meron niyang tube papunta ng ating intestine. So, for example, ito yung stomach natin. And then, nandyan na yung intestines natin, di ba? Okay, ganyan na lang. Intestines natin. So, yung purpose ng bile acids, para yan ma-absorb yung fats. Okay? So, kung kumain tayo ng taba dito, okay, magsisignal yan sa gallbladder natin na maglabas ng bile. So that, pagdating ng taba dito, okay, lalabas si bile at maa-absorb. So that, kaya na siyang i-absorb. At kapag na-absorb na yung bile, babalik ulit yan. Either sa lymphatic natin or sa liver natin para ma-absorb ng ating katawan. So, ang patuloy na pagkain ng taba will actually continuously replace or replenish. Magkakaroon ng maraming activity dito kasi ma-flush out and then gagawa ulit si liver tapos lalabas na naman ulit. So, that's actually the healthy and natural flow of our gallbladder. This is even one idea why we are built to eat fats. How? Why? Because yung katawan natin, meron ngang reservoir ng bile, di ba? Meron siyang reserve. Kasi alam niya, merong mga panahon na kakain tayo ng mas maraming taba than usual. So that's why there is this reservoir. Now, ano yung mangyayari kapag wala na ito? Kapag wala na ito, so our liver will secrete bile directly papunta na sa intestines. Okay? So, wala na siyang reservoir. So, that's why sa mga taong wala ng gallbladder, they can still eat fats because it will be directly there. Pero sa simula, mag-a-adjust pa kasi hindi pa sanay si liver na gumawa ng ganun karaming bile all at the same time. Kasi nga, sanay siya na meron namang reserve. But since wala nang reserve, kailangan niya nang gumawa directly. And that capacity of the liver can be improved based on how you train your liver. Our body is so intelligent. Kayang-kaya niya mag-adjust, okay? And what happens when you don't eat fats? Actually, there is already a lot of studies wherein a very low-fat diet, yung low-fat diet, sila mismo ang nakaka-induce ng gallbladder stone formation. Sobrang, para sa iba siguro, ang hirap paniwalaan. But yes, you can check googlescholar.com and search there low-fat diet, very low-fat diet, and gallbladder stones. You will be given a lot of journals directly indicating low-fat diet and gallbladder stone formation because ang nangyayari niyan kapag low-fat diet, wala nang fats. Walang fats na kinakain, walang rason si gallbladder na ipalabas yung bile. Kasi wala naman siyang kailangan i-absorb. So what happens? Nagkakaroon ng bile stasis. Okay? Bile stasis meaning stagnation. Nandyan yung bile. And bile stasis is the very, very seed of formation of cholesterol stasis, cholesterol sludge. Bago siya maging stone, meron pa yung cholesterol sludge. Also, parang nagtitiken. And if wala pa ring movement, eventually, it can become cholesterol stones. Yung iba, because of that inflammation and many more, merong tumutubong polyps, merong tumutubong kung ano-anong tumor. So, that's the basis. So, yung traditional medicine will tell you, just eat low fat because yung cholesterol mo sa gallbladder is made of cholesterol stones. Somewhat, yes, that can help kasi nga most of those cholesterol pwede rin galing sa pagkain. But we fail to realize that the cholesterol within our gallbladder might actually not be coming from cholesterol-rich foods. The cholesterol in our liver can come from fructose, can come from the carbohydrates, too much carbohydrates that we are eating. Kasi merong pong pathway ang ating liver na tinatawag na de novo lipogenesis. Kanya niyang mag-create ng kanyang sariling fats. And if especially if you are a fat former, actually good kasi tumataba ka. Meron pa pupuntahan yung taba na kinain mo. But if you are not a fat former, those fats, those lipids na ginagawa ng inyong liver can actually become something else and be stagnated there. Pwede siyang maging cholesterol and VLDL and triglycerides na nakakabara ng ating ugat. That can lead to stroke, that can lead to heart attack, or it can induce fatty liver. It can induce visceral fats, yung mga fats na nakatabon sa ating mga internal organs. Kaya merong mga tao, especially mga lalaki, na maliliit yung arms, maliit yung kamay, maliit yung paa, maliit yung braso, maliit yung legs. Pero rong tiyan, sobrang laki. It's the typical picture of yung lasinggero, okay? Yung sobrang laki ang tiyan, bilog na bilog, no? Pero maliliit yung extremities. And we can see now, people who are not consuming alcohol, hindi umiinom, hindi lasinggero, and yet still have the same bulging stomach. And it's because of the visceral fats coming from too much intake of fructose, glucose, carbohydrates, insulin spiking food that will lead to increased in fat formation, fat build up without fat burning. They are always kahit sobrang taas na ng taba nila sa kanilang katawan, but their body is at all-time high insulin level, hindi na-activate yung fat burning as a source of energy. So, nangyayari, they are just accumulating more and more fats, and their cravings will still be on carbohydrates because yung fuel na ginagamit nila is just carbohydrates and glucose. Okay? Okay ba yon? Sige. Pang-limang question pala ba to? Mag-iisang oras na tayo, limang question pa lang. Hi, Doc. November 2 of low-carb diet from 55, now 50 kilograms. I have been experiencing pain, numbness in the neck pain area. I have been struggling with high cholesterol level before I started low carb. Any insight? I wouldn't know for sure kasi hindi ko alam if you are doing it right or you're just eliminating the macronutrients but you are not increasing your nutritional intake. So a lowered weight is a good sign that your body is somewhat lowering in your insulin level, but it doesn't mean the presence of aches and pains can sometimes mean still inflammation. So if you are not sticking to the safe list, always eating the ones in the caution list but still low carb, say for example the processed meats, the cheese and dairies, and the stevia and the sweeteners and the many other things, no, tofu or mga artificial na products that are still low carb, that are still lowering your insulin, the keto goodies, then maybe you are not doing it the best way when it comes to healing. Yes, congratulations, you lost weight, but your inflammation might still not be there. Case in point, we have a patient before na successful na yung weight loss niya, nasa goal weight na siya, pero yung fatty liver pa din because you are not doing it the best way, the right way. And when it comes to the best way, it should be nutrient-dense low carb. Hindi lang basta mababa sa carbohydrate but mataas sa vitamins and minerals, essential nutrients na kailangan ng katawan natin, a proper balance between proteins and fat intake. And all of that you can learn in our masterclass. Okay, so let's check another question. Good afternoon po. LCIF po ako since October 2021. There are a lot of improvement in my health. My concern is all about my friend diagnosed with liver cirrhosis. She experienced encephalopathy, attacked twice last September, and suffering of swelling on her feet. Would it be all right for her to go for low-carb diet? So, hindi natin sinasabi na kapag maglo-low carb siya, marireverse na yung kanyang liver cirrhosis. Liver cirrhosis is already one of the end stages of liver problems. But there is still hope. Kasi kung liver cirrhosis siya, meaning the liver is not fully functioning anymore, pero at least at this point, we can prevent that liver cirrhosis going into liver cancer. Because that's the next step. Kapag hindi naagapan, it can develop into liver cancer. And what will low-carb nutrition do with that? At least with low-carb nutrition, hindi na siya magkakaroon ng further damage when it comes to liver, because the liver, when it comes to liver cirrhosis, it has undergone a lot of problems processing. Overwork po si liver. I hope you can join our fatty liver masterclass. Makikita nyo doon and you will appreciate kung gaano po kaimportante yung liver natin at kung gaano natin siya inaabuso at kung gaano natin siya sana kayang dapat i-take care. Because like for those with fatty liver, wala pong gamot ang fatty liver. Lahat ng binibentang gamot sa fatty liver are just supplements. But the only healing that you need is within you. Stop eating too much. Sobra-sobra na yung kinakain ninyo. When it comes to you having fatty liver, it's just simply because you are consuming too much foods that are wrong for you. Fast. Kailangan na po mag-fasting ng tama, ng guided way. And when it comes to food intake, kailangan itong i-balance. As of now, even if most low carbers are eating a lot of high fats, but when you already have a fatty liver, you already have a lot of fat sa inyong katawan. You just need to adjust on your food intake, prioritize proteins, making sure it's low carb. When it comes to calorie component, you might need a little deficit para magbigyan ng pagkakataon yung katawan nyo to burn those extra fats that's already in your body. But definitely, properly done low carb nutrition is not a contraindication. Wala pong kontra yan. Ang problema when it comes to those with problems is nasanay na yung katawan nila, and it has to be done the guided way. So good thing we have our low carb doctors who are in the groups also, na you can also do consultation. And I'm sorry right now, hindi na po ako tumatanggap ng one-on-one consultations because my time is generally given to for the greater number of people. It would be unfair to just cater to one. But we will open it up. If you really need to have that, we will open it up. Just contact our main admin and our clinic manager, Alvin Chua Rojo. Okay? But if you have concerns and queries, it can be better entertained and addressed sa ating groups, because every Saturday in our LCF Masterclass groups, meron tayong live interactive sessions wherein all of your questions and queries are addressed. Okay? Thank you po. So, maybe we can still get one or two more questions. So, good day, Doc. Just wanted to ask, I have hypothyroidism. I am suffering from menopausal stage, like too much hot flushes, high blood pressure, don't sleep properly, wake up in the middle of the night, like 2 to 4 a.m. My question is this normal that I don't get proper sleep because of my thyroid and menopausal? I'm doing intermittent fasting, but some of the foods of low carbs I can't eat because of my thyroid problem. I don't know what to eat now. Please help. So, ang usual na sinasabi niyong bawal sa inyo when it comes to low carb is yung mga cruciferous vegetables, di ba? The cabbage, the pechay, and the greens. Kasi yun yung usual na tawag nating goitrogenic. So, it's okay. You can avoid that. Pero wala naman nagsabi na bawal yung meat. Wala naman nagsabi na bawal yung isda, yung chicken. You can actually eat a lot. But I think you are somewhat now restricted sa mga sinasabing daming bawal. Yung question ko lang, nung sinunod mo, nung lahat ng sinabing bawal, naging okay ba yung pakiramdam mo? Or, let me guess, you're still the same or even worse. It's possible that your condition is just getting worse over time because hypothyroidism is an imbalance with hormones in the thyroid gland. But the more problem is, the more question na you should be asking, bakit nagkaroon ng problem in the thyroid gland in the first place? And thyroid is one of the major metabolic organ in our body. It is very highly sensitive to nutrients that we are eating. With my experience, I have seen patients who are eating too much of the vegetables without balancing with the right amount of proteins and healthy fats. Nagkakaroon ng imbalance sa kanilang nutrient intake, and that can lead into thyroid problems. So it's actually nutritional deficiency yung thyroid. And when it comes to food intake, just follow the safe low carb safe list. But with this, most of the thyroid gland are under our autoimmune diseases. I invite you to join our LCF masterclass for inflammation, autoimmune disease, infection, allergies, asthma, eczema, atopy. Lahat ng yan is under the same masterclass of inflammation. So it's already ongoing. You may enroll and just message any of our admins para po ma-attend kayo. So yes, marami kayong pwedeng makain, and I have a lot of patients who actually improved their thyroid panel, both hyperthyroid and hypothyroid, with proper nutrition. And part of that is monitoring. So have your blood taken before you start para meron tayong baseline talaga. Okay? Wait, tignan ko muna ito. So, hello po, Doc. My husband, 59 years old, suffering from dementia since 2005. Will low carb help him? Let me guess, gaano karami kumain ng kanin yung asawa ninyo? Kanin, tinapay, mais or corn, and oatmeal. So, those grains are linked to Alzheimer's disease, to dementia. It has something to do with autoimmune pa din, and somewhat yung sinatawag nating dementia or Alzheimer's disease is like a type 3 diabetes. It's like diabetes in the brain. Okay? I suggest you look for that. Merong certain studies showing how dementia can improve with supplementation of MCT oil or VCO. So 1 tablespoon 3 times a day, maybe you can try that, but make sure you don't eat it together with high carb. Otherwise, it might not be of big help. It's just added fats in your system that will not be burned. But one thing is possible if you will supplement with VCO. Especially, we have the good kind here. We have Sir Marco Reyes, who is one of the major proponents of the VCO industry in the Philippines. You can have it as supplement because the purpose of that, especially the VCO and the MCT oil, yung brain natin, the areas of our brain that has been bombarded with too much glucose, yung for the longest time puro asukal lang yung ginagamit niyang energy. Yung asukal kasi marami siyang waste product eh. Iisipin nyo kung sa energy, para siyang uling or para siyang kahoy na marami siyang charcoal, marami siyang extra carbon na natitira. But when you use ketones as a source of energy, it's cleaner. Wala siyang masyadong residue. Okay? Walang masyadong residue, and that's the reason why supplementing with MCT oil or inducing a nutritional ketosis in the brain can help, because this time ma-activate na yung part ng brain that will use ketones as a source of energy and not just give the brain a rest when it comes to glucose metabolism, para mag-break muna at hindi muna masanay, hindi muna magkaroon ng extra work yung part ng brain that is just using glucose as a source of energy, because glucose by biochemistry will lead into a lot of ROS production or reactive oxygen species. Ito yung parang mga basura na once it accumulates can lead into pamamaga and pagkasira ng ating parts ng ating utak. So yes, low carb nutrition, especially with high fat, low carb, high fat, but the good kinds of fats, not just any fats, can be of help for those patients. So, ang dami na namang nag-spam mo. Sana naman wag silang mag-spam dito ng kung ano-anong mga 10,000 pesos into my GCash wallet. Ay naku, just don't mind them na lang. Anyway, nasa na tayo? 52. I'll try to check muna our live. Tingnan ko kung merong nag-send ng, we'll try to emphasize kung sino ang nag-send ng stars. I'll see. Let's check. Overview. Hindi ko makita pa. So, maraming salamat. Mamaya na lang. I will answer you later. So, more questions. Meron pa tayo. I think we still have some time. Let's see. And maraming salamat for all of you who are supporting. And yes, ito. Sige. Good day, Doc. Just want to ask, I have hypothyroid. I'm suffering from menopausal stage, like too much hot flashes, high blood pressure. Ito yun. So, the mother of our hormonal problems, our hormones in the body, is the circadian rhythm. So one way, if you want to improve all of that, you can just start. Basic lang. Start with circadian fasting. So circadian fasting is correcting your metabolic body through making sure that you are adhering to the natural circadian rhythm of the body. So one way to correct that is to eat 4 to 6 hours before your bedtime. So ngayon, Actually, hindi pa ako nakakain. It's already 7:17 in the evening. Hindi pa ako nakakain kasi umalis ako ng bed around 4 p.m. na. So, instead of eating tonight, I will just fast na lang so that I can restart tomorrow brand new. Pwede akong kumain. So, that's anytime tomorrow, I can already eat. And right now, for those of you who are looking into sleeping at 10 in the evening or 12 midnight, dapat by 6 o'clock or before sundown ay tapos na kayong kumain. And then when it comes to your water intake, kailangan regulated din. Drink water when you are most active during the day when you are working. So, sa ngayon, look, tingnan nyo yung tubig na nainom ko. Yan lang. Ganyan lang ang nakuha kong tubig. Wala pa akong naiinom whole day. And hindi okay lang naman. Madaldal pa rin, no? So, okay lang. I am already not so dependent of water, but I know my body when it needs lots of water, and I'm just listening to it. So, correcting your food intake and your water intake can be the first step in your circadian rhythm. But other factors, of course, don't exercise when it's too late. Wag na manood ng kung ano-anong grabing nakaka-thrilling na mga movies that can stimulate you in the middle of the night. No. Try to relax once after sundown. When you work already during the whole day, try to do some stuff that relaxes you during nighttime. Okay? I hope our session right now is relaxing you. Hindi naman kayo nasa-stress dyan. I hope okay lang kayo. And that way, you can start correcting that circadian rhythm. Because when your circadian rhythm is disrupted, magkakaroon yan ng stress response sa katawan, tataas yung inyong cortisol, pwedeng magkaroon ng fat build-up because of too much cortisol in the body. Nagkakaroon even ng problems when it comes to appetite. Hindi mo na alam kung gutom ka talaga, na totoong gutom, na nutritionally in need of food, or you are just sleep deprived because yun nga, in the middle of the night, disrupted yung tulog ninyo. And of course, sa babae at sa lalaki, iba-iba yung effect because we have different hormones. And when it comes to menopausal stage, that's an added problem na posibleng mag-jeopardize. But all of those we see is pwedeng ma-improve. Pwedeng ma-improve when you do circadian rhythm, circadian fasting. I made a YouTube video about that. You can click it, 18:6 circadian fasting. That's my favorite fasting schedule. And that's my parang usual routine schedule ko talaga. Yung nag-iba-iba lang, depende lang yan sa occasions, very seldom. But generally, in a year, I comply with circadian fasting maybe 90% of the time. So, since wala ako sa aking normal routine right now, I'm not so compliant with that. But after this one ends, pabalik na naman tayo. But I will comply with that today. So, ibig sabihin, kung hindi pa ako nakakain ngayon, it's already 7:20, I'd rather fast. Magfa-fasting na lang ako. Kasi mas natural para sa ating tao na maka-experience ng araw na walang kain as compared to maka-experience ng araw na maraming kinakain na gabi na. It's really not natural for us humans to be eating too much in the middle of the night. And that is what I am trying to correct now as I go back to my routine. And I hope you can also try doing circadian fasting and see for yourself if it will work for you as well. Okay? So, yun, we are already at 57. Sige, kuha tayo ng last more. Suffering from cough, itchy throat, herbal medicine taken, other like Lagodi tablet, Robitussin, but until now, I still have cough. What do you think is the best remedy? I don't know what you've been eating. So, always check your plate, always see. But if parati yan, you might look at GERD or gastroesophageal reflux disease. Ito yung mga minor reflux na nangyayari. Sometimes it manifests as chronic cough. Isa yun sa mga pinaka-common. So, merong irritation. So, kahit pa hindi ka nakakaramdam na merong asim sa iyong lalamunan, but there is this minute, maliliit na reflux galing from acid from your stomach, and it irritates your throat and it leads into reflux. So, if you are doing low carb the safe way, the best way that we advise it, then it's good. But if you are not doing it, not sure, better to do it the right way. And if you think meron kang GERD, one other symptom of that is frequent throat clearing. Yung yung gano'n, yung need to always clear your throat, okay? So, yung need to always clear your throat is one of the common symptoms of GERD or gastroesophageal reflux disease. We already have a masterclass for that. You can already finish it kung gusto mo. It's a 21-day masterclass, but you can instantly finish it if you want because it's all fully available na. And if you think you are sure you are compliant with low carb nutrition the right way and still you have GERD, try to look at your stress level because there is a direct or many strong correlation between stress and inflammation, especially manifesting as reflux, as gastroesophageal reflux disease. I will pray for you. I will include you in my prayers that I hope kung ano man, kung meron man kayong pinagdadaanan, it will all be over. But it should start with a mindset and a faith that everything will be all right. Maniwala, manalig po na lahat ng bagay ay magiging okay din sa lahat. Okay? So, always have faith, always believe na merong paraan to make everything well and better. Huwag kayong mag-worry sa everything else. If you want to enroll in the masterclass at ngayon na problema kayo on how to do it, hindi nyo kailangan isipin yan. Gustuhin nyo lang na maka-enroll sa masterclass. And then, everything else, it will just be opened up. If it's really for you, you can have it. And of course, your healing, your journey towards better health, towards improving your health and enjoying your life and really doing what you are intended to do in this life, no? Magagawa at magagawa nyo po yan. Thank you for being part of our community. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here with me. I hope to be with you more and maraming salamat po. It's already an hour at kakaunti lang yung na-cover natin. And thank you also to everyone who are sending stars in support of our page. Maraming maraming salamat po. I invite you to join Life Without Rice if hindi pa kayo part ng Life Without Rice and also Low Carb Feasting and Fasting community wherein our very, very diligent and very professional coaches and admins and moderators are there to help. So maraming salamat everybody. I'll see you again next time. See you in our next video. Remember to always stay low carb so that we all stay safe. Have a good night po. Thank you.